हेलो दोस्तों, क्या आप अपने फ़ोन से अच्छी वीडियो को बनाना चाहते हैं? तो आप बिल्कुल सही जगह आए हैं। तो आज हम आपको बताएंगे कि वीडियो को कैसे शूट करना है। वीडियो में बने रहे। वीडियो शुरू होने से पहले हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब कर दें और वीडियो को लाइक कर दें। धन्यवाद। तो चलिए शुरू करते हैं।
Would do it, and then how an experienced person would film the same shot. So get your iPhone ready and let's start. Boo!
Gotcha.
I always like to start with the camera settings, as getting this right will help you get the most out of your videos. I'll be filming on the iPhone 14 Pro using the default camera app. Now, even though there are other third-party apps available, I like to keep things simple and use the default camera app to shoot all of my B-rolls. So I'll be filming with the standard video mode. There are definitely other shooting modes available like slow motion, cinematic mode, or time-lapse recording, but for now, we'll stick with the standard video mode. I'll make sure to set my resolution to 4K for the highest quality possible and the frame rate to 60 frames per second to slow down the clip, which also helps make the footage less shaky. Now, one of the most important settings within the camera app that you need to be aware of before you start recording is locking your focus and exposure. This way, you will avoid exposure changes during your recordings. Okay, so the first simple hack I have for you guys is to start shooting from a lower angle, because too many beginners make this mistake of filming everything from eye level because it's just super easy. But since everybody sees the world that way, try to be a little bit more creative and just get lower to the ground. So here's a video I shot from eye level filming the grass, and you can see it's nothing really special. But then you can see in the second shot, as I get lower, there's much more happening. And I also noticed a bee, which I also included in the video. And also by going low to the ground, it also creates more depth, which means creates a more three-dimensional image. So really take that extra step to get low to the ground and look for interesting things that you normally wouldn't see. So the next simple hack I have for you guys is to use precise camera movements. So what most beginners do is they just whip out the camera and start moving the camera in all directions. And you want to avoid that. You want to focus on just one direction. It could either be a slide shot or a push-in shot or an orbit shot. And just by having your camera move in one direction makes a huge difference and will make your videos look more professional. So here's an example of how a beginner would add camera movement to their video. And here's another example of how a more experienced one would create that camera movement. And something else to keep in mind is, in order to keep your camera movement as smooth as possible, it's also a good idea to move in a constant speed. Because if you start speeding up and slowing down constantly, your viewers will feel dizzy. So just keep that in mind. So my next simple tip is to simply let the action happen in front of the camera. Adding camera movement to your video can add a lot of dynamics. However, it is a bit more advanced. And because of that, if you don't have a lot of practice, it's good to start off with just capturing static shots and letting the action happen in front of the camera. This could be anything from a bird flying off a tree, a river, or even a subject that is sitting on a bench. Because if you don't have any action in front of the lens and it's simply a static shot, then it will look like a still image. So here's an example of a beginner filming something without any action in it. And here's another example, including an action in front of his lens. So a simple trick to make your videos more unique is to include sound effects. This often gets overlooked during